Welcome to In My Element. Today we're here with Miguel, Element Lifestyle, and we're going to change out the starter, and Miguel's going to share his secrets to make it a little bit of an easier job.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So what do we need to start?
So we need parts, starter. Make sure, like, if your car is a manual transmission, get the right part because there are two different ones: throttle body gasket and plenum or intake manifold gasket.
Cool. And then what tools do we need?
Pretty much basic tools. You don't need nothing fancy, nothing special, just a set of sockets, ratchets, an impact gun will make life easier, and that's it. And just,
Cool.
believe in yourself that you can do this.
And you go from the top or the bottom?
I'll go from the top.
Awesome.
You can also do it from the bottom, but I personally will spend the time and less suffering to do it from the top. After I've done it for a few times, it's a very easy job. Don't get overwhelmed because of the job. If you have some skills, basic tools, believe in yourself, I think you can do it.
Great. And we'll have links down below in the description for everything you need.
I highly recommend you guys. There are two rubber pieces that goes, one right here and one over there. One is missing already. I recommend you to remove this to start the job. And the reason is because when you're laying on the car to board, especially on this side, that's how this one goes flying away. And this is just a bump stop for the hood. So it's very important you remove this to start with so you don't lose those. And then use some kind of protector to work on this. And I'm going to remove these two bolts. But before that, though, the most important thing first is removing the negative sides of the battery. So it's a 10 millimeter. We are going to just remove that. And then you can tuck it in right here, kind of out of the way. And that should be safe to work now in this element. Let's remove these two 10 millimeter bolts in the cover. There it is. Sometimes these parts likes to get stuck like this, but I'm gonna leave it like this for right now. And then the plan will be first to remove this intake boot out of the side, out of the way. We're gonna remove the throttle body out of the way, and that way we are gonna have easier access to remove just this part of the intake manifold. We don't have to remove the whole thing, just this part right here. So let's work in this side and I'll show you how to remove this piece. So to remove this part right here, you will need a 5.5 millimeter socket. It's a must-have socket for people working in Honda Elements. I'm just gonna lose that bolt out. That's it. You can always disconnect this one right here, put it by the side. Then you can pull on this or push, and that's gonna disconnect it from there. You can remove the throttle body cable, the cruise control cable, also this connector. You can disconnect the air intake sensor, remove all the wires around, and there is another 6.5 volt over there on the clamp that we have to remove, pretty much similar as the one that we just removed earlier. This is a little bit harder to remove because it's a little bit of rust on the ball, so we will have to put some anti-seize on that one after we install it back. You don't have to like fully remove it, but there it is. That should be loose enough to pull the boot out of the throttle body. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm going to pull this side. There it is. And then very carefully grab it from the bottom because this is a 20-year-old boot. It can break very easily. So try to go back and forth, and that's it. This part is out. And now if you notice, we have a lot of space here to remove the throttle body. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove 4 bolts. Those are 12 millimeters that are holding the throttle body. I'm going to disconnect the TPMS sensor, and then I'm just gonna put it by the side. That way this is out of my way, and then I can concentrate to remove the intake manifold. For this one, I'm using a 12 millimeter deep socket. You can also use a sharp one. And then remove 4 bolts out of the way. There it is, for 2 bolts and 2 nuts holding the throttle body, and you put the throttle body by the side. You can see this one has a gasket. This is the old gasket. I highly recommend you not to reuse this. It's better you put a new one because you can end up with a vacuum leak, and you don't want to create problems to your element. We're gonna clean the rest of the gasket, but for right now, I know it's loose, but I'm going to install it back for right now, just because I don't want anything to fall inside the intake manifold. So be careful with that. Make sure that when you're working, you kind of put bolts and tools a little bit away from this part. So now I'm going to remove the bolts that are holding this intake manifold, upper intake manifold right here, and those are 12 mil too. There it is, and I'm gonna go by hand on those ones. Yep. Actually, before removing these ones, I'm going to remove the 10 millimeter bolts right here. This is a bracket for the throttle body cable, and there are 2 10 millimeters. So let's remove that one right now, and I'm going to use a short socket for that one with a long extension.
Can you point those out for us real quick?
Yep. So before removing these ones, we are going to remove the bracket that is holding the throttle cables. It's 2 10 millimeters, 1 and 2. So 1, put it away. 2, that's it. The way it's out of the way. There it is. Now next, I'm going to remove all the bolts that are holding this upper intake manifold, and those are 12 mil. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in total. So let's remove that. I've seen people replacing the starter from the bottom. It is doable, but there is so many advantage of removing the intake manifold from the upper part. One is that you don't have to be fighting with the starter being under the car all the time. Another one is that it's a good chance to replace all the gaskets. It's a 20-year-old car, so since you're touching hoses here, you're removing stuff, you can kind of start noticing what your cars need. So that's why I like to do it from here too. I'm going to use 12 short with a small 2-inch extension to get to it. Good thing that usually these bolts are really easy to remove. I never have to deal with a broken bolt or anything like that, or a seized bolt. There it is. Okay, all the 5 bolts are out, putting it over there. Getting tools out of the way, and now to remove this intake manifold, there is a bracket that is right here. It's kind of hard to see. We will have to go most likely under, but let me see. Let me bring a mirror really quick. I never tried to remove it from up. To remove this intake manifold, there is a bracket with a 12 millimeter nut that is holding, and a bolt that is holding under, and I usually like to go from under here. It's kind of the easier way, but it is missing in this element. It happens a lot. Sometimes people work on this or whatever, and then it doesn't come with it, or somebody just remove it. And right now I don't have to deal with it. I will have to skip that in the video. I wish I can show that to you, but after you remove that bracket that is holding this intake manifold, Then you just remove the throttle body out of the way, and make sure you don't pull in too much on the hoses, because they can break easily. And also, after you put it back, just make sure that everything looks good and nothing is bent or cracked. So after you remove this out of the way, the next thing that you are going to do is remove this hose right here. I like to remove it from here, from the upper side, and then you just kind of like go back and forth with this, and then you can see how the intake manifold is kind of out of the way. You start seeing a little bit of the starter over there. Looks like that starter is being replaced before. That's one of the biggest reasons why I recommend to use Denso if you can, but that's the starter over there. This is the gasket that I don't like to reuse, that's why I bought a new one. Put it out of the way. Okay, now you can bring it like this, which is kind of like, there are two connectors that you need to remove. That's why it's not coming out, and it's that one for the map sensor. I should have removed or disconnect this one earlier, but now that I remove it, look at this, how easy it is to remove. And you don't have to be fighting with the starter or anything like that. Like I said, you're just gonna go under the ground, or you're just gonna go on the ground, I mean, for like a few minutes to remove that bracket balls that is missing in this car. The bracket ball goes, I think it's this one right here. It's held by a 12 mil nut. So if you remove that nut, so this is facing this way, right? So when you go under, you're gonna remove the bracket that's holding this ball, and then that's what is gonna free the whole intake manifold to be out. I'm gonna put this by the side, and now just like I say, carefully to put anything right here. You can always cover it with some pieces of rag or something. But now that we have the starter exposed, the first thing that I'm going to do is disconnect the ignition wire, which is gonna be this one right here. You just pull on this, it's nothing special, and then you are going to disconnect the NOx sensor connector, and you're just gonna press on the click and then pull. Sometimes it can get really hard, and make sure that you pull from the connector. You put that out of the side. Be careful when you're trying to remove the two bolts that are holding the starter, because I've seen people breaking this NOx sensor. And also, if you know that you never replaced your NOx sensor before, this is the best time to do it. You're gonna spend maybe $50-$60 more, but look at how easy it is to remove the NOx sensor over there. I can do this without removing all this from under. It is doable. I do it all the time, but for some people it might be harder. If you have bigger hands or don't want to be struggling under here, then this is the perfect time. NOx sensor, which is a common problem in Elements, and the starter. Okay, so now I'm going to remove this rubber cover for the power all the time on this starter. It's kind of stuck there, so I'm gonna carefully push on this. Looks like it's stuck between the pipe, and there it is. So now when you remove that cover, you're gonna expose the 12 millimeter nut that is over there. You can remove it now if you like, or you can remove it later. I will try to remove it now just so I can have all this out of the way. So 12 mil, and take a better shot. So I got a 12 mil.
Yep.
And you just go like that. I need to repeat this again, but step one, disconnect the battery, because if you do this with the battery connected, you might blow a fuse or scare the hell out of yourself, because you're gonna see all the sparks flying.
Is that why it's covered with a rubber?
That's why it's covered with the rubber. You know, it's very close to the metal pipe. Like in a case of an accident or something, if that hits over there, you don't wanna put power and ground together. It's not a good idea. So there it is. This is, you can see, like, I'm Look at how much space I have here to work in the starter now. And also I like to disconnect this clip from here. You don't have to, but I learned that sometimes if you spend the extra minutes to kind of clean it up, it's gonna pay back later and it's gonna make your job easier. Another tip why I like to remove the intake manifold from up here is because you might get lucky and the two bolts holding the starter. Let me show you the starter. There are two bolts that are holding the starter. The starter goes like that. Then you might be lucky and go with your ratchet and super easy go take it out. Sometimes it's really hard, like those things are seized over there. So now because you have the space, you have more leverage to remove those two bolts. So I'm gonna remove the two bolts, just giving you an idea. One up here and one over there. So let's do that. I say that one is a 14 and a 17. I'll make sure right now. Let's see, I think it's 14. Let me bring my light really quick, bro. So now we are going to remove the two bolts. The upper ball is a 14 mil and the lower ball is a 17 mil. I will start by removing the upper one. And I'm gonna use this short socket and I'm going to find a small 1-inch extension and then my ratchet. And then, like I say, be careful with the knock sensor, which is kind of on the way. And then look at this. Look at how much space I have. Can you just imagine doing this under there? I mean, there is a lot of things over there. And
Can I see that one? It's just not
yeah.
blurry.
Let me also bring my light so that way you can get unblurred.
Okay, there you go.
So look at how easy it is to put your hand here with the ratchet versus going under there.
Yep,
And
got
then
it.
you have a lot of leverage. So I'm gonna go with this. Oh, this one came out really easy because somebody replaced it before, looks like it. But if you're having a hard time, my second option, which it works all the time, use the big boy right here. There is enough space to put the ratchet. And of course you can use like an adapter from like 1/2 inch to a 3/8, and this will make the magic. So this is the second option. We don't have to do this right here, but that ball is loose. I want to lose both balls first. And now I'm going to lose the 17 millimeter, which I'm gonna point it with a flashlight so you guys can see it better over there. And then let's see. Okay, let's see how this one comes out. See, like this one is really hard to do it. I mean, it's harder than the other one. So make the tool work. Instead of you working, make the tool work. So I don't want to be struggling with that. So I'm just gonna grab the big boy, a converter, the 17 mil, and let's see the difference. Still, it's gonna be hard to remove, but okay, now you see it broke out easier than what I was doing it with the other one. Yeah, it looks like I have to replace my tool because like right now I lose the ball, but it got stuck again. So I gotta fix that out. Now let's do it again. There it is. I just wanna like broke it loose because once it's broke loose, then you can again come back on with the 17 mil 3/8 ratchet, and that's it. Make the tool work, guys. Don't struggle. So now I'm fully removing the ball. Since both of the balls are loose, that's when you want to start removing both of the balls. Because if you fully remove one, then it's kind of harder to remove the other ball. You have to have the starter stable in place, so it's a little bit easier to break that ball loose. So this is the first ball that goes under. Just gonna put it right here. And now I'm gonna swap the sockets again for a 14 mil. And we are going to remove the upper ball. There it is. That might go just by hand, so I'm just gonna use the socket with the. And then once I'm doing that, I like to kind of hold the starter because now it's missing one
1 second.
ball. Yeah, no problem. So now I'm kind of holding the starter in place and removing the 14 millimeter ball at the same time. It's almost there. It's a long ball, so. Okay, now I'm just gonna use my fingers. There it is. Put it over there. And now, the reason why I didn't remove the 10 millimeter nut that is holding, oh actually I already did, never mind, I already said it in the video. Okay, so now this is out. When you take it out, be careful, there is a locking washer, especially if it's already been replaced before, that it might fall on you, so make sure that you have that. And the starter is out. It wasn't too hard. How much time did it take us, Steven?
20-ish minutes.
20 minutes. You
Yeah.
see, it's a quick 20 minutes, let's say 20 minutes versus struggling under. I mean, both are valid. This is the way I prefer. So now to install it
I'll just
back.
say Miguel's the expert, so give yourself like double or triple the time, because if you're doing it for the first time, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
If you're doing it for the first time, maybe it's gonna take you like an hour.
Yeah.
You know. And another tip in automatic transmissions, if you guys are struggling to remove that upper part, like you can kind of tell it's hidden right here, you can always remove this white part. You just kind of like push it from behind. You remove this white part, and then this plastic that is for the hood holder. And because sometimes it hits over there, and you might have to, not always, but it happened to me before, for some reason, you might have to remove this plastic, these two balls right here. There are two balls in the same size in the other side, and then you can just slightly move this up a little bit. So the plastic, 4 balls, you move this a little bit up, and it's gonna create like a half of an inch space, and you don't have to be fighting with the intake manifold. So just a tip if it happens to you. Expose here, you can check the condition of your thermostat. Sometimes this one likes to get coolant built in here. When it's slightly leaking, you can kind of see the bluish color, or sometimes people use green coolant. So highly recommend to use the blue one though, OEM. But you can inspect like I said, you can replace your NOx sensor, which is really easy to do. Everything else looks good. You can always inspect the tools for your flywheel. You can grab like where is my mirror? You can grab a mirror, and you can always inspect the tools for. You see the tools of the flywheel. You can kind of see how shiny it is.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah. Okay, wait. Let me.
You had. I had it just perfectly, but.
Yeah. Oh wait, man, I there it go.
Okay, 1 second. Yeah, I see the flywheel now.
Yeah.
The tooth.
So you can kind of see it over there. It's a good idea to check that, you know. Yeah, everything looks good. Everything looks good. Looks like it's dry. There is no oil, which is really good. So now you basically do the reverse. Just install it back the way that we remove it, starting from the starter. And when you're putting back, most likely the throttle body, make sure when you install the throttle body back, the cables are not out of its place. Like right now, one of it moved because I moved this by the side. So as long as you put the cable back in the groove over here for the cruise control, people who has cruise control, and the throttle cable, then you should be good. Everything else,
Will they always have 2 throttle body
they
cables?
always have 2, but they don't always have 2 cables.
I see.
So if you have cruise control, then you will have a
2
cable.
cables. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I mean, everything else is a reverse of the job. I think, I don't know if you're gonna record like putting it back, maybe like little clips
Yeah,
of
that's
it.
what I'll do.
But I think the most important is how to remove it. You know, it's a good idea to bench test the starter because you're doing all this work, and how about you put a new one and then it doesn't, like it's a defective part or whatever, especially that there are a lot of aftermarket parts that people are using. So very easy, you get a jumper cable, connect the power and ground, and then you're gonna supply a power with ignition. This is a fancy tool like Power Pro. You don't have to need to use this. You can always grab a cable from the power side and then go to the ignition. Let me put this a little bit away from the, and then you can go from here and you're gonna hear it clicking. So you can hear the starter is working. That doesn't guarantee the starter might be working bench tested, but I mean when it's moving the whole flywheel, like storing the engine, then it might not work. Like I seen that happen before, but at least this gives me confidence that the starter is doing its job here when it's being bench test, and now I'm good to install it back. Okay, so we just noticed I wasn't paying attention much, but the starter is the wrong part. I was just telling Steven that kind of looks fishy, like this one supposed to be a brand new starter. You can see the nut over there has some corrosion. It was all dirty, the sticker was removed, and then when I was comparing it, look at this. And I'm pretty sure that the part number, it won't even match. So we will make sure on that, make sure that you get the right part. So part of the job sometimes you get the wrong part, something breaks, whatever.
So this one's for the manual.
So this is for the manual, yes.
Yep, and then this one's for...
This one I don't know until I check the part number.
So
but
this could be something totally random.
it could be something random. I've seen people returning parts that doesn't belong in the box, you know.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, we'll figure it out right now.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And action.
This is the new starter. So we were right. They give us the wrong starter.
So yeah, make sure to inspect your parts before you take it apart, put them together, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. There we go. So we'll leave the correct links down below in the description so you guys can make sure you put that in. Action.
So I just wanted to mention this, that remember how I was telling you guys that it was missing a bracket with a 12 mil? You can go under. Also, you can try to remove it from up here. It's gonna be tricky. You gotta put your hand around here. You can try it both ways. But also I noticed that this element is missing a bolt that wraps. Oh, that went to the floor, so that's good. So also I noticed that it's missing a bolt that holds this connector in place. So this connector is held by a bolt right under the map sensor. You see the hole over there? So it goes through that hole and it threads into the intake manifold. This one is missing. So let me see if I can find one for you. This is just to hold the connector in place, but when you're removing this, just want to let you know that you also have to remove a bolt over there. Okay, that's it, bro.
All right, Miguel. Thank you so much, man. You're the wizard. I hope this video was helpful for you all. Please be sure to subscribe to Miguel's channel because he has a ton of how-to videos to work on your Honda Elements. Also, we mentioned earlier that you want to make sure you get the Denso starter. So that's the one that's going to be the best and most reliable.
Yes, this was kind of like an emergency, so
yeah, so we went to AutoZone and got what we could, but yeah, make sure to get the Denso variation. I'll leave the links down below in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe to Miguel's channel.
thank you, brother.
And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.